Let me ask you something honest. When you look in the mirror and see that belly, that stubborn, round, hard-to-lose belly, do you think to yourself, it's just part of getting older? Maybe you've even made peace with it. Maybe you've told yourself, I'm in my 50s now. This is just how it goes. But here's what nobody is telling you. That belly fat, the kind that builds up after 50, is not just about looks. It is not just a cosmetic issue. It is one of the most dangerous things quietly happening inside your body right now. And the scary part? Most people have no idea. Think about this for a second. You could be eating the same food you've always eaten. You could be moving just as much as you always have. But somehow, after 50, the fat just keeps showing up around your waist, and it won't leave no matter what you do. Sound familiar? You're not crazy. You're not lazy. And it's not your fault. But it is a warning sign your body is sending you. And today, we are going to decode that warning together. Here's what most people get completely wrong. They think belly fat after 50 is just about eating too much or not working out enough. So they go on a diet, maybe cut some calories, do some crunches, and the belly barely budges. And then they feel frustrated and give up. But the truth is, the fat you're carrying around your waist after 50 is not the same as the fat you had at 30. It behaves differently. It grows for different reasons, and it responds to completely different solutions. What worked before simply does not work the same way anymore. So here is what I'm going to walk you through today. I'm going to show you exactly why belly fat after 50 is different and why it's dangerous. I'm going to break down the 5 biggest reasons it keeps growing, and then I'm going to give you a clear, practical plan to start reversing it, starting this week. One of the points I'm going to share later actually surprises most people because it has nothing to do with food or exercise. So stay with me all the way through. Before we go any further, I want to ask you something. Drop a comment right now and tell me, does your belly fat feel hard when you press it or soft? Just write hard or soft in the comments because your answer actually tells us something very important about your health. I'll explain why in just a moment. All right, let's talk about what's actually going on inside your body. Not all fat is the same. The fat you can pinch on your arms or thighs, that's called subcutaneous fat. It sits just under your skin. It's annoying, sure, but it's mostly harmless. But the fat that builds up around your belly after 50, especially the kind that feels hard or bloated, that is a completely different animal. It's called visceral fat. And visceral fat doesn't just sit there. It wraps around your internal organs. It surrounds your liver, your pancreas, your intestines. And here's the dangerous part. It is metabolically active. That means it actually releases chemicals and hormones directly into your bloodstream. Think of it like a factory inside your belly that keeps pumping out inflammatory signals 24 hours a day. Those signals quietly damage your heart, your blood vessels, your brain, and your ability to control blood sugar. This is why doctors say belly fat after 50 is strongly linked to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, stroke, and even certain types of cancer. It's not about the number on your scale. It's about what's happening on the inside. Now, let's go through the 5 main reasons belly fat grows after 50 and what you can actually do about each one. Number 1, your hormones have shifted dramatically. For women, the drop in estrogen that comes with menopause literally changes where your body stores fat. Before menopause, your body stored fat mostly in your hips and thighs. After menopause, it shifts storage to your belly. This is not a diet failure. This is biology. For men, testosterone starts dropping around age 40 and continues declining every decade. Lower testosterone means less muscle and more fat storage, especially around the midsection. Your body is essentially going through a hormonal renovation, and your belly is one of the first visible signs. The practical tip here is this: focus on building and preserving muscle mass. Muscle is your hormonal ally. It helps regulate both estrogen and testosterone naturally, and it increases the rate at which your body burns fat, even while you're resting. Even 2 or 3 sessions of light resistance training per week can make a measurable difference over time. Number 2. Your metabolism has slowed down, but not for the reason you think. Most people blame a slow metabolism on age alone, but the real culprit is muscle loss. After 50, Adults lose roughly 1 to 2% of their muscle mass every year if they do nothing about it. And muscle is your body's engine. It's the tissue that burns the most calories. So, as your muscle shrinks, your engine gets smaller, fewer calories burned, more stored as fat, especially around your belly. Think of it like this. Imagine you had a car engine that was slowly losing cylinders. It would still run, but it would burn a lot less fuel. Your body works the same way. The fix? Feed your muscle. That means eating enough protein, at least 25 to 30 grams at each meal. Protein not only builds muscle, it also keeps you full longer and has a higher thermic effect, meaning your body burns more calories just digesting it. Number 3. Chronic stress is literally growing your belly. Here's the one that surprises most people. Stress doesn't just make you feel bad. It releases a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol, when it stays elevated over long periods of time, does something very specific. It tells your body to store fat around your belly. Why? Because back in our ancestors' time, stress meant danger, and belly fat near your organs gave quick access to emergency energy. But today, your stress is traffic jams, bills, family worries, poor sleep, and your body can't tell the difference. So it keeps pumping cortisol, and you keep storing belly fat. For people over 50, this is especially powerful because the hormonal changes already happening make you more sensitive to cortisol's fat-storing effects. This is why I said earlier one of these points has nothing to do with food. Managing stress is a metabolic strategy. Even 10 minutes of deep breathing, a short walk, or getting to bed 30 minutes earlier can meaningfully lower cortisol levels over time. If this is making sense so far, do me a favor and hit the like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who need to hear this. Number 4, your sleep quality is secretly making things worse. Most adults over 50 are not getting enough deep restorative sleep, and many don't even realize it. You might spend 8 hours in bed but only get a few hours of real quality sleep. And here's why this matters for belly fat specifically. Poor sleep raises cortisol. There's that hormone again, and it lowers a hormone called leptin, which is the one that tells your brain you're full. At the same time, it raises ghrelin, the hormone that tells your brain you're hungry. So you wake up craving high-calorie foods, your body is primed to store fat, and your willpower is weaker because your brain is tired. It's a perfect storm. One study found that adults who slept less than 6 hours per night had significantly more visceral belly fat than those who slept 7 to 9 hours. Think of sleep like maintenance time for your metabolism. If you don't give the system time to reset, everything runs inefficiently. The goal is 7 to 8 hours in a dark, cool room with consistent sleep and wake times. Number 5, inflammation is feeding the fire. Visceral belly fat and inflammation have a two-way relationship that most people don't know about. Belly fat causes inflammation, but inflammation also causes belly fat. They feed each other in a cycle that gets harder to break with every passing year. Processed foods, refined sugar, alcohol, seed oils, and even chronic stress all raise inflammation in your body. And when your body is inflamed, losing belly fat becomes extremely difficult, even if you're eating less and moving more. Here's the analogy I want you to think about. Imagine trying to pour water into a glass that has a crack in it. No matter how much you pour in, you keep losing it. Inflammation is that crack. It doesn't matter how clean your diet is if you're also eating foods that are constantly triggering your immune system. The practical tip here is to crowd out inflammatory foods with anti-inflammatory ones. Think leafy greens, berries, fatty fish like salmon, olive oil, nuts, and spices like turmeric and ginger. You don't have to go on a strict diet, just make small swaps that your body will thank you for. Be honest with yourself for a moment. How many of these 5 factors apply to your life right now? It's okay if the answer is several. In fact, most people over 50 are dealing with all 5 at once. And that's exactly why the belly fat feels so stubborn and so frustrating. Here is the bigger idea I want you to take from all of this. Belly fat after 50 is not a weight problem. It is a metabolic signal. Your body is telling you that something is out of balance. Hormones, stress, sleep, inflammation, muscle. And you can't fix a signal problem by simply eating less and exercising more. That's like turning up the radio to drown out your car's check engine light. You have to address the root cause. And the good news is, you absolutely can. This is reversible. People reverse dangerous visceral fat every single day, at any age, with the right approach. Let me tell you about Margaret. She's 57 years old, works a desk job, and came to her doctor's appointment feeling defeated. Her belly had been growing for years. She had tried dieting multiple times. She walked regularly. Nothing was working. Her doctor ran some tests and discovered that her cortisol was chronically elevated, her sleep was fragmented, and her protein intake was far too low for her age. She wasn't eating terribly. She was just missing the pieces that matter most after 50. Over the next 4 months, she made 3 changes. She added a simple 20-minute resistance workout 3 times a week. She started eating more protein at every meal. And she created a real bedtime routine that got her sleeping by 10:30 every night. By month 4, her waist had shrunk by 3 inches. Her energy was up. Her doctor was impressed. Margaret didn't do anything extreme. She just finally addressed the real reasons her belly fat was growing. Now let me give you your clear action plan. Here is what to do starting this week. Step 1. Eat 25 to 30 grams of protein at every meal. This preserves muscle and reduces fat storage. Eggs, Greek yogurt, chicken, fish, legumes, all great sources. Step 2. Do resistance training 2 to 3 times per week. You don't need a gym. Bodyweight squats, wall push-ups, resistance bands, whatever you can do consistently. The goal is to protect and build muscle. Step 3. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. Set a consistent bedtime. Dim your lights an hour before bed. Avoid screens. This single habit may be the highest leverage change you can make. Step 4. Reduce the foods that drive inflammation. Cut back on processed snacks, refined sugar, and alcohol. Replace them with whole foods, healthy fats, and colorful vegetables. Step 5. Manage your stress daily. Even 10 minutes of walking, breathing exercises, prayer, journaling, or quiet time can lower your cortisol meaningfully. This is not a luxury. It is medicine. Let's bring it all together. After 50, belly fat is driven by hormonal shifts, muscle loss, chronic stress, poor sleep, and inflammation, not just diet and exercise habits. The fat building up around your waist is visceral fat, and it's dangerous because it actively releases harmful chemicals into your bloodstream. But here's the most important thing I want you to remember. This is not your destiny. Your body is remarkably adaptable, even after 50. With the right approach targeted to the real causes, you can absolutely reduce your belly fat and reclaim your health. Now I have one question for you in the comments. Which of these 5 factors do you think is the biggest issue in your life right now? Hormones, metabolism, stress, sleep, or inflammation? Tell me below. I read every single comment, and I'd love to help. If this video gave you something useful today, please hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds, and it helps us reach more people who really need this information. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Because every week on The Health Insider, we bring you real science, explained simply, so you can take control of your health at any age. And coming up next, we're going to cover the 5 foods that are silently raising your blood sugar after 50, even the ones most people think are healthy. You'll definitely want to see that one. The link is right here. Medical disclaimer. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Always consult with your doctor or a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, exercise routine, or lifestyle, especially if you have a pre-existing medical condition. The Health Insider does not diagnose, treat, or prescribe.